Yep. So basically, when you think everything is ruined, the thought, the idea, the vision is tainted. Once you start to, think, once you start to apply like a structure to it, to your thought, to your vision, you've killed it. Um, Source, phenomena, or phenomena like the breath reminds us that the phenomena exist. When we take deep breaths, when we, ground ourselves in our life and what makes us real, um, it reminds us that, I hate to be cliche, but life is relatively simple. Not only is it simple, but I think I said it earlier, thinking is useless. I think I said that already. And I guess where this idea comes from is just the idea that, it's not even an idea, just the fact that as you, once you think so much, and when you do think so much about others, when you have empathy and stuff like that, it's no longer thought anymore. It's just pure awareness. Um, and this is not a state that you are just in all the time. That's the goal. But this pure awareness state is something that, like, I mean, at least to me right now, is just something that is something to tap into, something you go in and out of. You kind of like, it's this revolving door in between the observer and the player, the active person, and living the life. Sorry, like, but like, for me, or how I understand it is, you can't really ask too much of this life. You can't really force anything to happen, because we aren't the ones that determine the flow of life. You get me? We aren't time. We aren't, you know, just space. We aren't time and space. We don't determine the flow. We just go with it, and we surrender. And that surrendering is very, like, scary. That surrendering is very, like, you know, like, I don't want to surrender to a higher power, or, like, I don't want to surrender to anybody you may think. I don't want to surrender to anything. And the practice of surrendering, the act of letting go, and just trusting source, trusting life, trusting faith, trusting God, whatever you see fit. When you just trust that rhythm, when you trust the flow, because the truth is, like, life is natural, like, things that, I'm not gonna say like you're meant to be doing, but things that is aligned with you. When you do those things that, or when you're around things that are aligned with you, or when you're around people who are aligned with what you're aligned with, it's like butter. It's just like, oh, like, it's the most. It's like you guys been friends forever. It's almost as if you never. It's almost as if like there was no um there was no I guess what I'm trying to say, like, time lost in between the souls interacting. Life is really just energy. And I know we kind of, in a sense, like, get this, but we don't really. We don't really understand the extent to what this really mean. Like, by like life is energy. I just share from my own personal experience. And what triggered this, even in the first place, is the idea that, it was a heartbreak that I went over. Heartbreak that I went over, and it was a pretty tough heartbreak for me. I took it hard, and recently I've been having dreams about it. Although this was like months ago at this point, early February. Early February, and now, all the way in October, I'm still having dreams about it. Late October, still having dreams about it or whatever. And I had the thought, like, why is this the case? So I talked it over ChatGPT, and it was just like, like, about the dreams. And the dreams, told me what the dreams was like. And ChatGPT said, like, it sounds like this is avoidance. Like this, like, you're trying to avoid the situation, you're trying to avoid her, you're trying to make it feel like, since you didn't have answers, you're trying to give answers, right? Your psyche trying to give you answers. And it's like, why, I had thought, like, why am I clinging on to this love so much? Why am I clinging on to her so much, really, was the initial thought. But then through deeper, thinking and meditation, the answer came to me. It made me, I realized that, it wasn't necessarily her that I missed, or her that I felt like I needed. And to be quite frank, it's not even really anybody that I feel like I need. And there's the point. It's the energy that I felt, right? Because when I was in love, I would show up a certain way. I felt a certain way. I wanted to do certain things more. You feel me? And that same type of energy that you had, that I had during that time, came from me. It's just that, once again, because of the ego and because you're a player in the moment, you're attracted to the person. You feel like they are the cause for this happiness, which in a way they are, but you gotta still remember, like, you're just kind of sensing them through faulty sensory things. Like, they can really not even really be there. So, like, you could be loving something that's not even really real. I know, like, obviously, like, we know each other are real and stuff like that, but, like, we've seen examples of people being in love with AI and stuff like that, like, with inanimate objects. So, imagine, like, being in love with something that just like, just a human being that you can just put your love into, and or precisely see the love that you have for yourself reflected. And that's all really what a partner offers, is your love reflected back at you. Is what I realized. To get deeper into, like, how I understood this, or what made it click for me, was simply like, I felt like the love was just an energy. And if I just looked at it as an energy, when I meditate and when I just sit with myself with my breath for a moment, I can replicate the feeling of that energy, and I can replicate how I felt at that time. And if I can continue to constantly be in that state and find a way to perfect it, find a way to, constantly be in a state of, reminding myself of the love, reminding myself I'm connected to the source, through breath, meditation, through understanding, once again, but it's a lifelong journey. But experience is the teacher. Our mind just processes it like the mind just takes the experience and put it through a processor to make it understandable, to make something legible, to make logic of it, you know. But the truth is, for many years before, you know, we had pen, paper, when we had technology, you know, when we built the pyramids and stuff like that, that stuff was all by pure, pure imagination. You know, they had a goal, they had something in mind, and they went after it and they wanted to go do it, and they had a clear motivation, and it was to, you know, worship their life, worship their God, worship their deity. Um, a lot of times, and I think that devotion to life itself, and you know, whether that may be your God, life be your God, or devotion to your God, devotion of any kind to any God of your choosing, um, sacrifice, surrender, understanding, you know, anything that teaches these principles these are good principles to have. These are the principles of the flow of life. Um, and you know, I hate to use the word good and bad. Um, I don't really mean to say like these are good principles, these are bad principles. Um, I should rather say useful. Um, a better word would be beneficial. Like it would be beneficial to pick up on some of these traits and habits, such as cooperation, patience, grounding, understanding, care. These things improve life, life quality. Um, this is a fact. Um, I don't think there's ever been a situation where somebody was given love, true love, not whatever amalgamation of love that you think, you know, you may think. When they were given true love, never have there been a situation where they were rejected of that, or they could be rejected of that, you know? Um, but yeah, I don't think that, like, scratch, time out. Basically, what I'm just trying to say, I'm tired, bro, but I want to get this thought out. Essentially, all I'm trying to say with this video is experience, experience, experience. Thinking sucks. Don't think. It's pointless. Don't do that. Just kind of like, just vibe. Cause you thinking isn't gonna change. Like you thinking about it isn't gonna change shit. You know. If anything, you thinking about it is like actually like the last way something's gonna change, right? Because for something to change, it takes action, and you just have to just act on what you got. Sometimes act on what you feel. We are highly intuitive beings. We are not monkeys. We are not, you know, primitive. We are very, very intelligent, highly intuitive, highly, you know, our minds are very sharp. These processors are very, you know, very potent. And the experiences that we have in life, um, the 5, 6 senses that we sense this life through, you know, like I established, are wonky sometimes. They fail us sometimes. But nonetheless, we have five, six if you count it. Um, some of us don't have all five. And we see that life is sometimes expanded or exacerbated for people who don't have all five. In certain areas, let's say like the whole thing when Beethoven went deaf, music got better. Well, the blind artists, yada yada yada. You know all the examples. But I say all this to say that you know experience this life to the fullest, see everything, do everything, feel everything, because that will teach you that, well, you always are gonna feel, but it also teaches you that these things are it's play, it's play, it's it's folly. Life is bliss. Life is folly. Life is nothing but just pure bliss, joy, and experience. It's just you're just experiencing this life, and there's really nothing more to it. I don't like. I think almost all of my videos are gonna go like this. Like maybe not all, but right now I'm just in a very. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.